What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, and this is episode 55. Today, we are going to talk about shortstops and ranking them 1 through 30 going into the 2023 fantasy season. Joining me is from New Jersey is Mike Haber. Mr. Haber, how you doing?
Doing great, Jason. I'm thrilled. We're inching closer and closer to baseball season here. February 5th, we just got one more month to get through, and then we're hearing the spring training bats, and it'll be exciting.
World Baseball Classic and
World Baseball Classic, March Madness. Yeah, we got this.
We're almost there. We're almost to the finish line. I can see the light at the end of this dark tunnel that we call the off season.
Yes, great.
So today we're ranking our shortstops. How did you find this list? Because previously me and Joe have done first base and second base, and to me those were two very contrasting different positions. Like I felt like first base was a lot of big names, a lot of stars, a lot of power. Second base I felt like was kind of bleak and like if you miss the top 3 or 4, like forget second base. How did you find shortstop?
Shortstop is really deep.
Yeah.
Really deep. For me, it's like kind of the top 16, which is interesting because there are 16 teams in our league. So like I kind of feel like everyone will get a pretty high quality shortstop in our league unless someone is drafting someone that's position eligible somewhere else and can, so if someone drafts 2 of these, someone's going to be stuck with sort of a lower tier shortstop. But this is one of those positions where like you can kind of wait if you wanted to or needed to.
Right. And the thing is like that there's not a whole lot of like I did mine and I do have tiers for this position, but like none of the tiers really have a giant drop off. Like it's pretty steady going down the list. So if you don't get 1 through 7 and you're stuck with your number 13, like you're good, you're fine. So there's definitely a deep pool here of quality shortstops.
Yeah, and it's also kind of rare too. Like we're seeing some like a good amount of power from this position this year, and a lot of stolen bases from this position. Like this is where you're gonna find your the core of your team right here is in this shortstop position. So I can't wait to get into it. I'm sure our rankings are all over the place, but let's get started.
Let's dive into it. I think number 1 is we probably are in lockstep. Why is it not Trey Turner?
It's Trey Turner. Turner.
I mean, tell me about Trey Turner.
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously make the argument for him going first overall. In the draft. He did lose his second base eligibility this year, so he's shortstop only. But it's just a model of consistency. It's keeping the strikeouts low. It's a high batting average, high on base. Now he's hitting at the top of Philly's lineup. And it's the minimal, I don't want to say minimal power, but it's like average power, excellent speed, runs hard. This is the true definition of a 5 category player. So
I tell you what, I did all my rankings the same way. I took the last 2 full seasons, so 2022 and 2021, and averaged out all the stats that I looked at, which is basically all the stats that we have in the bigs, plus OPS plus, average exit velocity, and hard hit percentage. And I mean, as far as those, the last 2 full seasons, like it doesn't get more consistent than Trey Turner. I mean, 25 home runs, 89 RBIs, 30 steals, a 313 average, a 359 on base over the last 2 seasons. Like you can't ask for more than that. He's the number 1, and he very well could be the number 1 overall.
Yeah.
So this is where I think now we'll probably start diverging.
It happened quickly.
Because this position is so deep, you can rank them in any order and be justified.
Yeah.
So who is your number 2 shortstop?
All right. As of right now, and it's really tough. Like you said, I probably could have gone with 10 other players here, but as of right now, my number 2 is Bo Bichette.
Okay. Tell me about Bo Bichette.
He had, when all said and done, last year he had an awesome season, but he had a terrible beginning of the season. So for him to end up with the numbers that he ended up with, it just goes to show, like, if he can find that consistency all year round, as opposed to just the final 4 months of the season, like, his numbers could be really scary by the end. So, the power speed combo is there. The batting average is there. The lineup around him is there. The runs and production opportunity is there. So, I mean, I don't really see many holes other than, like, he can be a little streaky.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. The power, and look, I said we were diverging. We didn't diverge because I also have Bo Bichette as my number 2 shortstop.
Hey, all right.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'm a little concerned about the strikeouts. He strikes out a lot. 155 strikeouts in 159 games last year. So, like, he strikes out a lot, but he hits the ball hard. Half of his hits were over 95 miles an hour. So his hard hit percentage was 50.8% last year. Exit velo was almost 92 miles an hour. Like, he hits the ball hard, and when you can do that, and also he had 13 stolen bases, 25 the year before, playing in that Blue Jays lineup, he is geared for success. So I think but he's only 25. Like, there are so many things going for this kid that I think he has to be the number 2 shortstop.
Yep. All right. Hey, look at us, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
See how long this lasts.
Right. Yeah, I think it lasts till now. My number 3 shortstop, I have Carlos Correa. And I think a lot of people are down on Correa because of all of the issues with the Giants and the Mets and the medicals, and does he have a broken ankle? I don't know. But you know what? I don't have access to the medical reports. I don't know what they say. I'm not a doctor. What I do know is this guy, when he plays well. I mean, he has 136 OPS plus. That's 36% better than the average hitter over the last 2 seasons. 285 average, a 366 on base over those 2 seasons, 24 home runs, 78 RBIs. He's back in Minnesota. I don't know why everybody's kind of down on Correa. He's been durable. He hasn't really missed a whole lot of time recently. Where are you on Correa?
You want to know where I have him ranked?
I do.
14.
14. Okay, so we definitely diverged here.
We diverged. I've said this before, but I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a star player. I think that, or a superstar player. He hasn't stolen a base. He didn't steal 1 base last year. He is injury prone, and I really see this position as an outlet for you to get 5 category production. And for this guy, his power wasn't even that exciting, or his production in over 500 at bats. It was still kind of weak last year. And it's not, I mean, the Twins are okay. I don't think it's like the power lineup that the Twins used to be. And yeah, the ankle worries me a little bit. So I found 13 guys ahead of him who I think could do a little bit more. I feel like 3 is insane, but hey, I love the divergence here. Can you hear me? Check.
Yeah, in terms of Carlos Correa being injury prone, let me just break it down here real quick. In the last 2 full seasons, he had at least 500 at bats, and 2020 he played 58 out of 60 games. So the last 3 years, he's played pretty much a season. Like, yeah, he took the IL a couple of times, but like he's never missed like a big chunk of time. Yeah, 2019 he only played in 75 games. 2018 110 games. Like, but recently, and none of those injuries have ever been related to that ankle or leg or whatever the hell the problem is that the Mets and Giants saw. So I'm still okay with Carlos Correa.
You're okay with him at 3?
Yeah, I think he's a steady producer. He's a steady. Yeah, he doesn't have the speed, but you know what? I can get speed from my center fielder. I can get speed from
Your
wherever,
drug
from
dealer.
second base. But like the guy's gonna hit. He can hit 30 bombs, and he. I think the Twins might be better than some people think. I don't think they're gonna be great, but like I don't think they're gonna be bad. He could drive. He could drive in 90 runs.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I mean, I still think for me, I wouldn't consider him a top 5 shortstop just with all the talent that's going on. I can't even consider him a top 10 shortstop at the moment, but
Apparently not. 14.
at 14. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
at least he's in your top half.
yeah. We have diverged, my friend.
Yes. Let's see if we reconverge here at number 4. Who's your number
Wait,
4
you have to hear my 3.
Oh yeah, who's your 3?
My 3 is Fernando Tatis Jr.
Wow. You're buying in after a year off.
After a year off, he'll be back April 20th. He's going to miss a couple weeks. There was a report that came out today that his shoulder is as close to 100% as it's ever been. And we all remember what he did when he was healthy, and that Padres lineup is dynamite. And this is a guy who we were talking about could potentially have a 40-40 season like a year ago. And here he is. He's going to be healthy. Hopefully he is drug free and ready to produce five categories.
I tell you what, I have Tatis down at number 9, and I originally had him lower than that. I was down on him going into last year because of that shoulder injury, and then he got popped for the drugs. Look, I've seen the reports too that he's healthy. I want to see it in spring training. If I see in spring training that he's hitting, he's playing, no restrictions, I could see me moving him up. Plus, he's going to have outfield eligibility because I think he's going to be the right fielder, right? So
I think left.
One of the two.
One of the two. Yeah.
He may even play center. Like they may move him around. Who knows?
Yeah.
So I mean, he's going to have a lot of good eligibility. He's only 24 years old. So like, if he is healthy and he can get back to being, because like, I mean, his 2021 season was just ridiculous. 166 OPS plus. Like that's just awful. It's just amazing. But like, I just need to see in spring training that he's actually healthy, and maybe even like I mean, he's going to miss the first 3 weeks of the season. So like, I might need to see him in like I don't know. I can see me moving him up if he's doing well in spring training, but I'm taking a cautious approach with this guy.
Okay. All right. I think that out of any 2-3 hitter that is hitting behind a person, he is in the best possible situation where he's gonna have so many pitches to hit,
Yeah, he definitely has the highest upside of anybody on probably any list.
Yeah.
As long as he is truly healthy. Like we've seen before where guys will say, put on Twitter that I'm feeling great, and then they're not feeling great. So I'm a little skeptical, but yeah, if he's healthy, he could fight for number 1 here.
Oh yeah, 100%. He could go first overall in the bigs, but so this is, for me, that's where it's like, okay, who's got a high ceiling that can actually carry my fantasy team? When I think of Trey Turner, Bo Bichette, Fernando Tatis, all 3 of those players can do it. This is just my argument. When I think of Carlos Correa, I don't think that that's a player that will ever carry my fantasy team. I think he's a great player, but I don't think he can carry a fantasy team.
Okay, I appreciate that, and you know what, I could move him down, but again, like to me, this my 2 through 7 like could be jumbled up in any order, and
Yeah.
like I feel okay about it. So like if I miss out on Bichette and I'm stuck with Correa, like I'll be okay with that. Like
Yeah.
let's hit number 4. Who is your number 4 shortstop?
So my number 4 this year is Marcus Semien.
Okay.
I
have Semien as number 7.
Okay. All right. We're kind of close.
Yeah.
I like the
yeah,
dual
tell me about Semien.
eligibility. Yeah, dual eligibility. I like Texas this year more than I have in the past. He's proven that he can hit for power still as a shortstop, which is really exciting, and can steal 30 bases, 25, 30 bases.
Yep.
He's going to score a ton of runs too. The thing that you don't like is he is this past year at a relatively low batting average and on base, but I could see that increasing with Texas's success as a team. So that's it. I mean, another like 5 category producer, and that's what I'm looking for from this position this year.
The great thing about Marcus Semien is the durability, and I talked to Joe about this in the second base show. I mean, this guy plays literally every game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not counting 2020, but the last 3 full seasons, he's played at least 160 games in all 3 of them, and 159 in 2018. So, like, the guy plays. He comes to the post every day, and he plays.
Yeah.
My concern is his level of production, like, is just all over the place over the map of his, the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
There's been times where he's, I mean, 2021, he was a runner-up for the MVP, but then like 2019, he was good. 2018, he was not good. 2020 is what it was, but he was not good in 2020.
No.
And he was okay this past season. So like, I just feel like there's like a little bit of inconsistency. So I don't know what to expect from him. But you're right, that Rangers lineup is sick, and he could easily score or drive in 90 runs.
Yeah. And I mean, like, didn't this guy hit 40 something home runs like a year ago?
He hit 45 last year.
45 in 2019.
Or in 21, yeah.
Oh my God, what year is it? 2021. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what year it is. So even if this dude, hits 25, 30 home runs again, which is almost like a guarantee at this point, with
and you take that from a middle infielder.
Yeah, 25 stolen bases and the dual eligibility, I'll take that all day.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So my number 4 is maybe a little bit of a homer pick, but I think it's Francisco Lindor.
Okay.
He's only 29 years old, whereas Marcus Semien is 32. So like, that's a sizable age gap. And look, there's no question Lindor had a really tough year, his first year in New York back in 2021. But he picked it up towards the end of the year, and then last year he had a monster season. I mean, that's 394 on base.
Yeah.
339 on base. 125 OPS plus, 26 home runs, 107 RBIs, 16 steals. Like, he is to me the mode of consistency that you want from a guy.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, consistency for me is a tough word just because of what he did in his first year as a Met. And yeah, this is what he did in Cleveland, and this is why New York spent the money on him. But I think if 2021, right, didn't happen, I would feel so confident going in with this guy. As
you know what though, like I mean, it happens, and call it an excuse, but like, first year in New York is a tough thing to do. Carlos Beltran was dog shit his first year in New York, and then in 2006 he was MVP level. So like, it happens. So like, I'm not completely dismissing the 21 season, but I'm not weighing it very heavily. as far as calling him inconsistent.
Yeah, and that Mets lineup is as good as it's been in a while, and he's going to score a ton of runs and have a ton of RBI opportunities. Like, he's in a really good spot.
Yeah,
I mean,
last year he scored 98 runs and drove in 107. Like,
yeah,
that's quality. That's top quality. So, yeah.
I have him as my number 5, actually.
Okay, so we're pretty much in line there.
Yes,
that's pretty fair.
Yep.
Number 5 for me is Marcus Semion's teammate, Corey Seager.
Okay.
I had Seager. I think it was last. Was that Seager last year? I think I had Seager last year, and it was a interesting year because he also, like, just like Semien, right? He 33 home runs, like, it was great, but he hit 245 with a 317 on base. Like, it wasn't, that wasn't great.
Right.
Struck out 103 times and 600 at bat, so not a whole lot of strikeouts.
Yeah.
He hit the ball hard. Where do you have Seager?
I actually have Seager at 7, so we're pretty close there too.
Okay.
I just see it, again, it's the lack of stolen bases. It's
yeah.
I mean, again, it's that's all it is for me, is like, these like top players right now I want to contribute in all categories, but I'd be perfectly fine having Seager as my shortstop this year.
Yeah. I mean, and he's proven that he was injury prone for a little bit. I think he's proven that he's past that. He played in 151 games last year. Like, so, aside from any fluke things happening, it seems like he's healthy. He's going to age 29, so he's right in his prime. I would take Seager back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and I think that batting average is going to go back up a bit with the shift being, moderated.
Absolutely. Joe always has the shift rates. I don't have the shift rates. To me, like, the rule changes that are happening this year, it's hard for me to project how that's going to affect the players until we see it. So, like, next year, I can say, okay, no shifts. Yes, Corey Seager's batting average went up. There's a parallel there. Until that happens, I don't know for sure that that's going to happen.
Right. Yeah, that is a good point. But I just know that he just from watching the Rangers games that I watched last year, like, every time this guy came up to bat, like, there was a pretty significant shift on him. So it could play a role in just increasing that batting average a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think then if I'm gonna guess right, we both had the same number 6.
Maybe.
Who is your number 6 shortstop?
My number 6 is Bobby Witt Jr.
We do not have the same number 6 shortstop. Bobby Witt Jr. Okay, tell me about Bobby Witt Jr. in his one season.
Was that passive aggressive, Jason?
You tell me.
I'm not. Look, I'm not as big of a. I'm not in the buy-in category of, like, this guy needs to be a first rounder, and I know there are people that are as high on this guy as that, but he struck out a lot last year, and there were spells of games where he did nothing, when, like, 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts, like, what it felt like 2 weeks in a row. And I don't necessarily trust that element. That's why for me, he's not top 5, because I don't think that I would, like, have him carry my season, my team. But that being said, the upside is pretty phenomenal here. And I think that you could get a 30-30 season from this guy. I'm not saying, like, 3 years from now. I'm saying, like, this year you could get a 30-30 season.
Sure.
Granted, he's not on the best team, but it didn't really stop him from producing last year, and the team was bad, and he's hopefully hitting in front of Pasquantino, who I know you don't know who that is, but that guy, and Salvador Perez. So hopefully he sees some pitches, and he's he does need to become a little bit more patient. He needs to take his walks. He needs to stop chasing, but that comes with maturity and with sophomore season, next season. I see big things for this kid.
He had, I totally admit that it's his rookie season, so I'm willing to give him that pass. He had the same number of stolen bases as walks. He walked the same amount of times as he stole the base. So you could say that every time he walked, he stole a base.
Mhm.
So that's 30 walks in 632 plate appearances. His on
Yeah.
base percentage was 294.
Yes. It was
Yeah.
not.
So yeah, I could not get him that high.
Okay.
Not yet. And he does have the third base eligibility, which is nice. So the dual eligibility there. The power speed combo is definitely tantalizing. The lineup, like you said, is not tantalizing. I have Bobby Witt down at number 15.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah. I have him clumped with some guys, and I'm calling it the prove it tier.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just show me that that he can grow and that he can actually take a walk and be on base more than 30% of the time.
Okay. It's fair. That is fair. It's just the counting stats for me at this point, but I get it. I totally get it.
So my number 6 is Xander Bogaerts. I feel like, just like Correa, I feel like a lot of people are down on Bogaerts, and this move to San Diego in this lineup, and he also is like Mr. Consistency. 36 doubles averaging over the last 2 seasons, and 19 home runs, 76 RBIs, a 301 average, a 374 on base. Like, what's not to like about Xander Bogaerts? What has he done or not done to warrant being shit on?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. He's my number 8 ranked shortstop, so he's not much farther down, but yeah, he had a significant dip in power and didn't really run as much, and all of those sort of stats that you're looking for dropped a bit, but maybe it was to sacrifice the power and bring the batting average up and the on-base percentage up. And again, I'd be thrilled with him as my shortstop. I think he's got capability to surpass or get close to those numbers he had in Boston, hitting in San Diego, hitting in this lineup. I think he can absolutely bounce back and have more production. So
and remember, I know I said that I can't project with the new rules, but there is a new rule with the bigger bases.
Yeah.
If he runs more, maybe Bob Melvin lets him run more than Alex Cora did, in Boston. Maybe he gets 10, 15 steals. That would definitely improve the game. But I can't really. I mean, he had 8 stolen bases last year, which isn't nothing. I can't really find a flaw in his game.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. He is a model of consistency. I definitely would love to see in San Diego some of those power numbers start to creep back, even if he gets to 20 home runs, I'd feel more comfortable with that. But otherwise, he gives you pretty much everything else you're looking for.
Yep. All right. Did we cover yours, number 7?
My 7 was Corey Seager. So yeah.
Corey Seager. Okay, so we talked about 7. Bogaerts was your 8. My 8 is Dansby Swanson.
Okay.
I never really liked him a whole lot, especially maybe there was a bias because he was a Brave. His numbers don't jump off the page at you, but he did have 25 home runs, 18 stolen bases last year. 2021 wasn't so great. He had 27 home runs, but only 9 steals. He's been a little bit all over the place, but he plays just like Simeon. He plays every day. He strikes out a lot.
Yeah.
So I have him a little bit further down, but I think in this Cubs lineup, they're not really playing for much. Maybe he just goes out and plays. I don't know. What are your takes on? Where do you have Swanson?
I have Swanson at 10.
Okay.
So I do have someone between Bogaerts and Swanson, but last year was a career year for him he's never been that type of a player where he is this like sort of superstar. I think it was a contract year and he had incentive to play and he was in a great lineup. I don't know. I could see the Cubs kind of falling out of it fairly quickly, and then, maybe this guy, even if he's like a little bit more lackluster than he was last year and doesn't have the same passion on a potentially world champion team, like, I don't know. The Cubs in general to me are just like, all right, let's just throw a bunch of like mediocre, like maybe slightly better than mediocre players together on the field and see what happens.
That's I'm right with you there. Like they didn't make any one splashy move, but they made
Yeah.
moves that I kind of liken them to the Marlins too, where like they've made moves that they needed to address certain positions, but on the whole, they didn't really do a whole lot. Like
Right.
it was just a bunch of mediocre guys. Swanson probably being the best that they picked up out of
Yeah.
all of their offseason. Um, I don't think he's gonna make them a contender, but he can still have a fine season, and I would be okay if he's falling to me and he's my shortstop. Like I'd be okay with it.
Yeah. And like earlier, we were talking a little bit about tiers, and I feel like if this is kind of like I have him sort of at the end of this tier, because again, I have a different number. Not, I don't know who your 9 is. Oh no, this is your 9, right?
This is my 8.
This is your 8. So I have a
And
different number 9, but it's, if I can get this guy at the end of this tier, I'd be okay. I'd be fine. I'd be happy with it.
like I start him. He starts my next tier. So like
Okay.
my first tier was Trey Turner's tier by himself, and then it's Bichette, Correa, Lindor, Steger, Bogarts, and Semien is that 2 through 7 tier for me, and then Swanson starts this next tier for me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think that this tier kind of cuts off at 10 for me. Like for me, it's like Turner, Bichette, Tatis in a tier, and then it's the fourth
I can
through what?
appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
And then for me, I think it's kind of like 4 through 10, where like I'd be happy with any of those 7 players, and then and anything after 10, I feel like, all right, I'm gonna wait
Sure.
because I didn't get anyone I was looking for. But yeah, no, Swanson he's okay, but I'm worried about some regression. So
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm gonna drop him
So
a little.
you said you had someone between you have somebody at 9. Who is your number 9 shortstop?
My number 9 is, in my opinion, the model of consistency when he's on the field, and that's Tim Anderson.
Okay. I have
I
him at
love
11.
Okay.
So we're not far off on him. Yeah.
We're not far off. I love Tim Anderson. When he's healthy, when he plays, this is potential batting champion. This is a guy that can steal bases, score runs. He could do everything. He can hit for a little bit of power. He walks, he gets on base. Like, this is a guy that can do anything. Yeah, I'm not big on the White Sox, just like everyone else is kind of like, downward trending them. But if he's hitting leadoff and he's healthy and he's playing every day, he could still, provide a ton of value for where he's dropped in these drafts.
Yeah. Yeah. I never been a huge fan of his, but you're absolutely right. He is consistent, but he's also consistently hurt. I feel like, and that to me is just a red flag. I like if I'm gonna invest a draft pick on somebody, like I want somebody that I know I can trust is going to be in the lineup. And if they happen to suffer a fluke injury during the season, well, fuck, that sucks. But like, I don't know that I'm comfortable drafting a guy like that's played basically a full season over the last 2 years combined. Like,
Yeah.
so, but you're right. When he's on the field, he's a quality producer.
Right. Yeah. So again, that tier for me is Semien, Lindor, Bobby Witt, Corey Seager, Xander Bogaerts, Tim Anderson, Dansby Swanson.
Okay. Well, also in my number 10 is Willie Adames. Ever since he's gotten to Milwaukee, I've really liked this kid. he's just his batting average isn't gonna knock your socks off,
No.
and he strikes out a bunch. But I mean, 30 bombs last year. Like the power is real.
Yeah.
And ever since he's come to Milwaukee, now that he knows he can play, he doesn't have to fight for playing time. He's healthy. He's durable. Like, yeah, he's not superstar level, but like he's quality. He's a quality producer at the shortstop position.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like him. I have him ranked as my number 15.
Okay,
So
so we're a little off. Yeah.
we're a
Um.
little off, but again, it's just because of that, the strikeout rate, the low batting average. I don't really trust a ton of Milwaukee hitters, like in general. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but it's this thing about Milwaukee. It's this thing about like the Rays. I just don't want hitters on those teams for whatever reason.
I also I agree with you. I don't think the Brewers have a very particularly strong lineup.
Yeah, and even like Rowdy Tellez, who like he had an awesome. I know we're not talking about first baseman, but he had an awesome year. Again, it's just like I don't know that I trust it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just a gut instinct thing, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Um. Let's recap our top tens here because
Okay.
I think we've each given our top tens, right?
Yeah.
So give me your top 10.
All right. Trey Turner, Bo Bichette, Fernando Tatis Jr., Marcus Semien, Francisco Lindor, Bobby Witt Jr., Corey Seager, Xander Bogaerts, Tim Anderson, Dansby Swanson.
Okay. And mine is Trey Turner, Bo Bichette, Carlos Correa, Francisco Lindor, Corey Seager, Xander Bogaerts, Marcus Semien, Dansby Swanson, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Willie Adames. So for the most part, our top 10 in some order is pretty much in lockstep with a few
Yeah.
outliers.
Yeah, I'm missing Adames and Correa from mine. You're missing who from yours?
Witt,
Tim
Witt
Anderson.
and Anderson. And
Okay.
Tim Anderson I have number 11. So he's
Right.
just outside the top 10. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. All right. Who's your number 11?
My number 11 is Tommy Edman,
Wow.
a guy that
Tell me
does
about Tommy
also,
Edman.
he does not get the attention that he deserves. I think that this is, I mean, you just, you're hitting in front of Goldschmidt and Arenado. So you're obviously going to score runs. He's dual eligible, second and short. He had 13 home runs and stole 32 bases last year. Like, this is a guy that's constantly, underdrafted and undervalued. It's not like his batting average is bad, 265. It is what it is. But if you're looking for kind of like a great value to like get you those steals in everyday playing time, like this is a guy that you can wait a little bit and feel perfectly comfortable as your shortstop.
So in the second base show, Joe pretty much reamed me for having Tommy Edman so low down on my second base rankings. And I'll be honest, right now I have him ranked 18.
Wow.
But I think after hearing your rationale and his rationale on the second base show, I think I am prepared to move him up.
Okay.
I
we
don't,
did it, Joe. We did it.
I don't. He doesn't stand out to me. Like, yes, he hits on top of the Cardinals order, so he's going to score a bunch of runs. He steals bases, but like I don't know, there's just something about him that doesn't wow. He doesn't wow me like some of these other guys that I have currently above him. But he is steady, and he's going to get the playing time. He played in 153 games this year, 159 games the year before. So I am going to move him now as my number 12.
All right.
And to me, so I have a tier. The tier for me now is Swanson, Tatis, Adames, Anderson, and Edman. And yeah, so that's
Sounds
let
fair.
me yeah.
I mean, it's just like that, it's not that he's incapable of hitting home runs and hitting for power. He can do it when he needs to. he's a top of the order guy that's gonna get more at bats than most other players in the lineup. Like, I don't see many holes in this guy's game that are gonna deter me from drafting this guy. Like,
Yeah. And what's great is that he can play multiple positions. So like if the Cardinals need to move him around, he's always going to be in the lineup, right? So
yeah,
he's always going to be there.
I remember
Okay.
a few years ago on a show, I said that he was the poor man's Whit Merrifield, and I truly believe that. I mean, obviously, at this point, he's surpassed Whit Merrifield, but like he'll give you those peak Whit Merrifield stats at a much higher value. So
Yeah. Yeah, and he's only 28, so like he's
yeah,
still on the right side of youth and right in his prime.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean the batting average on base is okay.
yeah,
He doesn't hit the ball particularly hard, but he doesn't need to. So
yeah.
yeah, okay, I'm sold.
All right, sweet.
So he
Uh,
was your number. Yeah, that was your number 11, right?
that was 11.
Who's 12 for you?
All right. I actually don't really love this guy. I may change it, but it's not that I don't love him. I just don't believe in him yet. There's so much hype around this player, and last year was just like what's happening here. So Wander Franco is my 12. There's a lot of hype on his name. I want to see him. I want to see that same production, the contact rate, the batting average, the on base that he had when he first burst on the scene, and I think he can do it. Again, I just don't really have a lot of faith in Tampa Bay hitters, but I don't know. I think I could draft him this year given where he's being valued and where he's going in most drafts, and like feel okay with it. Last year I wouldn't touch him because he was going in like the second or third round overall, and like,
Right.
we hadn't seen anything. But I have him at 12 just for the upside, for the fact that he is such a highly touted prospect, and we'll have to wait and see.
So I have him at 14. So I have one guy in between Edmund and him,
Okay.
but for the same reason. But for the same reason, he's part of this prove it to me tier, because
Yes.
like he burst onto the scene in 2021 and everybody was in love with him, like you said, and then going into last year's draft, he was sky high,
Yeah.
and injuries, so like I need to see him in spring training to see how he's doing. Is he healthy? Is he ready to go? How are the Rays looking? Because I'm with you. I'm never really a firm believer in the Rays offense. So is he good enough to be that guy in the lineup? I don't know. He's only played 100 and some odd games,
Yeah.
so far in his career. So let's see what he can do. But I would draft him. I absolutely
Yeah.
draft him, and so I just need to see him in spring training to see how healthy he is.
Yeah, given where he's going as his ADP at this point, like for me,
Yeah.
he's definitely draftable, but we'll see. Like if
All right. So
let's say he explodes in spring training and moves up the rankings and starts going in the fourth, fifth round, I don't think I could touch him there, but we'll see.
yeah, he's definitely more like the start of the middle rounds
Yes.
for me, and I think for you too.
Yes.
So we'll see. We'll see where he falls, if how much Joe's in love with him again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mentioned I have a guy. So that was your 12,
That
right?
was my 12. Yeah.
Yeah. So my 13, I have a guy in between them. Gunnar Henderson from
Okay.
Baltimore. And he starts this prove it to me tier because he's another guy that burst onto the scene last year, and he's got all the rave and the fanfare, and Baltimore is up and coming. Everybody, they're the sexy pick, in the American League this year. Even in that AL East, they're not going to win the division, but like they could be something this year, and he should be part of that. He only played in 34 games last year, so I get it. There's no sample size to really look at,
Right.
but the games that he did play were pretty good. I mean, he hit the ball 53.7% hard hit percentage. Like,
Okay.
so like I feel like something like that is real, and like So I'm willing to buy into him. He's only 22. I'm willing to give him. He may be a risky pick, but I'm willing to buy into it.
Okay. I have him at 17, so not too far away from what you're talking about here. But again, I have some of these players that you had ranked higher. I have them in this area. Like I have Correa at 14 and I have Willie Adames at 15. So like Gunnar Henderson is for me kind of falling right after those solid veteran picks.
But by the way,
Because
Henderson will also
yeah,
have third base eligibility too. So there's
yeah,
a little bit of added value there.
yeah, absolutely.
So who's your 13? Who's your number 13
My
shortstop?
Yeah, my 13 has not been mentioned yet.
Okay,
Also dual eligible, but I'm gonna go with a little Andres Jimenez here.
I
Um,
like it. I like it.
power speed comp, not power, but he can hit the home run. He stole 20 bases last year. He hit 297 in almost 500 at bats, which is really nice.
With a 371 on base.
With a 371 on base, like I will happily take that in later rounds if I don't get one of these top 10 shortstops, you know. Yeah, and he's I'm pretty sure he's still second base eligible.
He is. Yep.
So yeah, he's a really solid like middle round target for me this year. And the fact that he could just be my second baseman also, like that's, you know, really appealing. So I'm in on him.
I have him at 15, so we're not far off. And the only, and you know, I mentioned this in the second base show. The only reason I have him a little bit further down is just because I just want to see it again for another full season, because
Yeah.
this really was his first full year in the bigs, and you know, he had a half a year in 2021, and it was not good.
Right.
So I like to see if this is real, and if it is real, like yeah, he could be top 10 next year.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it for a full year, but he's only 24. The Guardians are looking really good. So yeah, there's a lot to like about this kid, and
Yeah.
you know, I mean, the Mets traded him to get Lindor, so there is pedigree there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like him there.
All right. Cool. Wow, look at us. We're almost in tandem here. Like
Yeah,
it's not what I
except for Carlos
expected.
Correa.
Yeah, except for Correa and Adames, who are my 14 and 15. I mean, yeah,
So
14, 15.
yeah, and my 14-15 is Wander Franco and Andres Jimenez. So we talked about those two already. So who's your 16?
All right, my 16 is a huge prove it player, and that's O'Neal Cruz. Um, I was not really that impressed with what he did last year, honestly. He was very highly touted, but I again like he almost had like those Bobby Witt numbers, just worse. In the like the strikeout rate was abysmal, and the batting average and on base, I don't know.
So funny because I have O'Neal Cruz 17. I have him and Bobby Witt back to back. I have Witt 16 and Cruz 17, because to me there's a lot of similarities. They're both rookies. They're both playing on shitty teams.
Yeah.
They both had a 294 on base percentage.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So the power speed combo for both of them is there. And Cruz hit the ball 92 miles an hour last year, average exit velocity. So like again, like he hits the ball hard, which I think is a sustainable metric. Like I feel like if you hit the ball hard, you're gonna hit the ball hard.
Yeah.
So could he hit 250?
What?
You know, he needs to cut down on the strikeouts. So, and I don't like the Pirates. So like,
no. Is Ben Gamel hitting behind this guy? Like what is this guy's protection in the lineup besides Brian Reynolds, who may not even be there halfway through the season?
Yeah, I mean, let's let me look at the Pirates lineup real quick, because I want to see how many names you recognize. So right now, according to Roster Resource, O'Neal Cruz is due to lead off for the Pirates.
Okay.
Followed by Brian Reynolds,
Okay.
Brian Hayes, and then G-Man Choi.
Cool. I hate that guy.
Andrew McCutchen.
Okay, washed up. All right.
Carlos Santana.
Washed up.
Jack Sawinski.
Uh,
Rodolfo Castro and Austin Hedges.
that's
That is
that's
the
terrible.
projected Pirates lineup.
That's bad. That is washed up players with O'Neal Cruz and Brian Hayes.
Right. So this guy, so O'Neal Cruz is due to hit on top of this order. He'll get, if he can even get on base, he's never going to score. he's only going to be able to drive himself in whenever he hits a home run. Like,
right. Like, I don't think Jack Suwinski, Rodolfo Castro, and Austin Hedges are really going to set the table for this guy. But
no, I don't think so either. So, I mean, Cruz himself, there's stuff to like about his profile, but
yeah,
he's a dart throw, I think.
yeah, I agree. There are plenty. I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily think it's fair to compare him for him and Bobby Witt to be ranked right next to each other in that sense. I mean, I can see where the stats are sort of pointing in that direction with the on-base percentage, but I don't think Bobby Witt has scratched the surface of what he can do. And he at least has some players that are real players hitting behind him around.
True,
him.
he does have a better supporting cast. And look, I do have him ranked right above O'Neal Cruz for those reasons. That like I do think he is the better player. He is on the better team. But this is all part of the prove it to me tier. You know,
okay.
Show me that you know you can cut down on the strikeouts and then you can get on base. You know, at a reasonable clip.
Yeah, I get it.
So Cruz was my 17. Who was your 17? Or did we say your 17 was Correa? Or
no?
Did we say your 17? Who was your 17?
My 17 is Gunnar Henderson, so we talked about him already.
Okay. Who is your 18?
My 18 is, I don't even know if he's still shortstop eligible, but Jake Cronenworth.
He is shortstop eligible. And this is an interesting name because me and Joe have had a number of conversations about him in our previous first base and second base shows.
Yes.
Tell me why you like Jake Cronenworth or don't like him at 18.
I medium like him, Jason. I medium like him because he is dual eligible. He's, going to play every day in that lineup, and they're going to move him around. So I think he's going to keep that eligibility unless he is the everyday first baseman. But I know they got Matt Carpenter. I know they got maybe some other guys that can fill that spot. But yeah, I mean, he's still young. He's 29 years old. He is consistent enough where he will score runs, and he'll, if he's hitting where he's hitting right now in this roster resource lineup, hitting fifth behind Soto, Machado, Xander Bogaerts, eventually Fernando Tatis, he's in a really, really awesome spot to drive in some runs. So
absolutely. And so I do have him down. I have him down a little bit, not too far from you. I have him down at 21. And and he's eligible at first, second, and short. And for all three of them, I had him much higher up until I started looking at the numbers. And the numbers are good. They're not great.
Right.
240 average last year is okay. 17 home runs is okay. I think he has more value. And I tried to say this to Joe. I think he has more value as a shortstop or a second baseman than he does as a first baseman.
Oh,
I think he just fits the profile better as a middle infielder than a first baseman. But he has that eligibility. And he in this monster lineup, he's right in the middle of it. So there's opportunity. He's gonna play every day.
And I think it's actually getting a little bit rarer that guys are eligible at three different positions. And so the fact that this guy has that, and you can kind of just throw him around your infields if on certain off days, that has to play a role in how we value these guys. So not for nothing, he's got Tom Brady hitting behind him. Oh, Nelson Cruz hitting behind him. So I mean, I mean, look, and then Matt Carpenter, look, we know that this Padres lineup is going to be, just ruthless. Yes.
This year, and if he's hitting in the middle of it, reap the benefits. So he's your 18. My 18 is Jeremy Pena.
Okay, he's my 19.
And yeah, okay. I wanted to move him a lot higher, and cause I don't know. I thought he had a much better year than he did, but he really had just an okay year. I mean, 22
Yeah,
home runs from a shortstop is nice.
yeah.
But he struck out a ton. His batting average was okay. His on base was terrible. You know, stole what 11 bases. So like he's got upside. He's only 25, so he's got some upside. He played on another deep lineup in Houston.
Yeah.
He's the bottom of this prove it tier for me because
Okay.
he has 1 year. Show me that you can take a step above, take a step forward, and become a real player.
Yeah, I agree. And I think where he bats in this lineup is going to be instrumental in determining what his fantasy value is, right? Like if Michael Brantley is in fact back as the number 2 hitter, and then you also have Kyle Tucker, who honestly should not be a number 6 hitter. So if anyone is moving up, I feel like Tucker is going to be the one to take that number 2 spot if Brantley kind of falls out of it. But if Jeremy Pena can make his way up there between Altuve and Bregman on a regular basis, it would cause me to reconsider this ranking.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, he's hitting in front of Chas McCormick and Martin Maldonado. Like, there's not a whole lot of protection behind him right now.
Right.
So yeah, if but he's an injury away. Brantley's gonna get hurt. Bregman can get hurt. Jordan Alvarez can get hurt. So any of those guys get hurt, and he's moving up the lineup for sure.
Agreed. Yep, 100%.
So he was my 18. He was your 19. My 19 is Ahmed Rosario, another former Met, now Guardian.
He's my 20.
There you go. All right, we are in lockstep here.
We are.
He's got left field eligibility too. Again, nothing really stands out as superstar level, but he's good enough that if you miss any of these other guys that were above him, he's not going to hurt you.
No, he can fill the position. He definitely can.
Yeah. I mean, 11 home runs, 18 stolen bases last year with a 283 average. He's not going to kill you in anything. He's not going to win you anything, but he's not going to kill you in anything.
Yeah, I think I kind of see him as the Jake Cronenworth who runs. He can hit for some average. He'll probably surprise you with his RBI totals, and then he's like Cronenworth who runs, who's also kind of eligible, around the field. So
right. Playing in a at least an up and coming decent Guardians lineup. I don't know what to make of this lineup. I know they made the playoff last year, but I don't know if they're. I feel like that's maybe more of a fluke. I don't say fluke, but I don't know if they're a consistent contender yet, but they're up and coming for sure.
Well, their pitching is what got them to the playoffs last year. I mean, they did just get Josh Bell, so maybe their offense takes a step forward.
Oscar Gonzalez Jose Ramirez still, so.
Yeah, Jose Gonzalez for a full year. I think they're going to do better offensively this year. So Ahmed Rosario will probably be in the center of that.
So he was your 20. My 20 is Gavin Lux, who currently doesn't have shortstop eligibility, but he will because he's slated to be the Dodgers' starting shortstop as of right now. So I am ranking him as my top 20 shortstop.
All right.
Do you have him ranked?
No.
Okay. Yeah. He's a tough one because and I talked to Joe about this in the second base show. He hasn't gotten chances to play, and I drafted him. I think it was 21. I drafted him, and he's never played. And when he played, he wasn't great. He was okay, but he's still only 25. Man, he's only 25. And if he is going to be an everyday guy for the Dodgers now, finally with Justin Turner gone and Seager gone and Trey Turner gone, if he is a starting guy in the Dodgers lineup at 25, I'd be willing to buy into him. So if I see in spring training that he is playing regularly, that he is in the middle of that lineup, I'm probably moving him up this lineup, up this ranking.
Okay. I'll tell you what kind of scares me about him is that number one, if he's not the starting shortstop going into the season, like, what are you waiting for? Because this is the opportunity for him.
Sure.
And you just said it, with Turner gone, with both Turners gone, and with, sort of like a lot of question marks on a Dodgers team that's usually like the model of consistency. If he is not a starter now, I don't think he's ever going to be, because then what are you doing with him?
Right.
It
No,
scares me. It
go ahead.
scares me that Miguel Rojas would just signed an extension, just got a contract extension on this team. Like, that scares me a little bit. And I think that's almost an indicator that, like, they don't actually really believe in Gavin Lux being an everyday player. Like, Miguel Vargas is that up and comer, and I think that they're probably gonna consider platooning Lux and Miguel Rojas. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, your fears are genuine, and I share them. That's why I have him at 20.
Yeah,
Because I don't know how much longer I can wait.
right.
Right now Roster Resource has Miguel Vargas as the starting second baseman.
Mm-hmm.
I think Miguel Rojas, to me, like this, he adds, like, he's like the like what Cal Ripken was to Melvin Mora, back in the day. Like
Oh,
he's gonna be the mentor, right? He's gonna be the guy to it's not a fair comp, because obviously this is Miguel Rojas' only year in Los Angeles, but
right.
he's gonna pass the torch, so to speak, and he's gonna ride the bench, be a utility guy, play some third, play some second, play some short, play all over, and let these kids run with it. I
Yeah,
hope. At least that's
I hope.
that 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 that, that, that that's the theory, right? But yeah,
Exactly.
if that's not what happens, and Lux is only playing 100 games, then yeah, I'm all out on him. But right now,
Right.
I'm still willing to buy into him, only because he's still only 25. So, like, but this is like make or break it for me.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I know. I also think I probably didn't rank him, not just because of my trepidation, but mainly because he doesn't have shortstop eligibility yet. That's
Right.
that's
Fair. Fair.
mainly the reason. But
He
yeah,
will have he'll have second, short, and left. So
which
there's
is nice. Which is nice.
yeah. So that's value too. But he's got to be able to play. He's got to be on the field. Otherwise he's nothing more than a bench guy that you throw in to your lineup when he's facing a righty or something like that. And you know you need it's a Monday and teams are off or something like that.
Right, right.
All right. So I think that takes us to 20. Did we cover all up to 20 for you as well?
We did. We did.
All right. Hit me with your 11 through 20.
All right, 11 through 20. Tommy Edman, Wander Franco, Andres Jimenez, Carlos Correa, Willie Adames, O'Neill Cruz, Gunnar Henderson, Jake Cronenworth, Jeremy Pena, and Ahmed Rosario.
And for me, it's Tim Anderson, Tommy Edman, Gunnar Henderson, Wander Franco, Andres Jimenez, Bobby Witt Jr., O'Neill Cruz, Jeremy Pena, Ahmed Rosario, and Gavin Lux. So again, a lot of similar names in these chunks here.
I hope you're not drafting anywhere near me, Jason.
Likewise, we're going to be far away from each other.
Yeah.
All right, so that takes us to 21.
Now things are
we
going to
already
get
talked about.
Yeah, things are going to get weird now.
Yes, they are. This is a tier. This is a group of, for me anyway, of guys that, like, I'm probably not drafting, or if I'm drafting, like, their dart throws late in the round, late rounds, or like I'm hoping that they're on the waiver wire that I can pick up when I need them. But hit me with your 21.
Okay, my 21 actually is not weird. I wouldn't be too upset if I got him. Everyone after 21 is weird for me, but I really do like Nico Horner as a player, and so he's 21 for me. I'm assuming with Dansby coming in, he's gonna get second base eligibility, which would give him that duel. And he hit some home runs, he stole some bases, he hit at the top of the lineup, he got on base, he hit for average. He didn't strike out that much. He struck out 57 times in almost 500 at bats. That's remarkable.
Yeah. Yeah, he had an 11% strikeout rate this year. That's you don't see that.
Yeah.
um, I do have him ranked. I have him a bit lower down.
Okay.
I have him at 27,
Okay.
only because uh, like I want to see it again for a full year and see what the Cubs are going to do. Right now, yeah, he's due to hit leadoff, play second base. We talked about the Cubs and how this team is all kinds of weird. I mean, they
Yeah.
brought in Eric Hosmer and Trey Mancini and Cody Bellinger, but like,
It's
why?
so bizarre.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but you're right. He's only 26, so he's a nice little player. And if he a full season with that kind of strikeout rate, he stole 20 bases, hit 10 home runs. So like a full season of that, and this can be a real good late round value.
I think he's a nice little sleeper, and he's hitting in front of Swanson and Hap, who are definitely the two best hitters on this team. So
For sure.
I could see him scoring a lot of runs too this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I can easily move him up this ranking too. I might want to see him in spring training and see what the Cubs are doing with him.
right.
But yeah, I could see him moving up easily up this rankings.
Yeah.
My 21 we talked about was Jake Cronenworth.
Okay.
So who's your 22?
All right. Now we're getting weird, Jason. We're getting real weird. I'm gonna go with
I like
like a
weird.
I'm gonna go with a kid who I don't know much about, but because he's hitting in cores, I'm gonna go with him. So Ezekiel Tovar, I'm gonna go with him.
Wow. He is on my just missed list.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. It's a very good sleeper pick. I don't know anything about him. We haven't seen him play hardly at all.
He's a guy that I can like right now. Jonathan Daza is the leadoff hitter on the Rockies, but I if Tovar comes out swinging and like gets regular playing time, he is their shortstop. I can't even find another potential shortstop on the roster. So he is going to play a shortstop. I could see him becoming the new leadoff hitter, and if he does, hitting in front of Chris Bryant and McMahon and CJ Cron, like I would love him at this value at this pick here.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Probably not
that's a great
necessarily
call.
as my starter, but a nice like backup like bench bat that I could see becoming a starter eventually for me.
Yeah, and a guy if he's hitting leadoff, I mean, usually that doesn't the park doesn't matter.
True.
Right? Like Coors Field, like for CJ Cron and Ryan McMahon, you're expecting them to hit home runs in Coors Field. A guy like Tovar, like you just want him to get on base and steal some bases.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
yeah, and with the bigger bases this year, he could be a very nice sleeper pick. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't have him ranked, but I could. I very well could have.
Okay.
For my 22, I have a guy who's eligible all over the place. And so we've already talked about him in previous shows. Is Brendan Donovan of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay.
Again, he probably would belong in that prove it group, except that
Yeah.
I don't think he's as good as those guys in that group.
Right.
For me, but like he's eligible first, second, third, short, right, and left. Like
It's
you
absurd.
literally could put him just about anywhere. He's hitting in that Cardinals lineup, so like there's opportunities there.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'd like to see what the Cardinals do with him in spring training, but he has a 394 on base this year. I mean, so
Yeah.
if that translates,
I don't think it's a fluke. I think that he can hit, he can get on base. And I know you and Joe have talked about this on previous shows, but like honestly, just draft this guy as your bench bat and put him everywhere. Like
right, right,
and you're done.
yeah. So again, when on a Thursday when half your team is not playing, but the Cardinals are, you got somewhere to put him.
Yeah, I wish you could clone him and just play him all over the field. But
yeah, let's try that.
I have Donovan at 26th, so he is ranked for me. Yeah.
Okay, good. Who is your okay, so we have your 22 was Tovar. So who's your 23?
So I have a very unorthodox number 23 here.
Okay.
I actually have two players sharing the spot. And the reason why is because I think if one of them gets called up and becomes the everyday shortstop, and I don't know which one it would be, I think that I could see him excelling. So right now I have
Okay.
Oswald Peraza and Anthony Volpe as number 23.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. You're the expert. Tell me about them.
Peraza's a guy that can do a little bit more of everything. Volpe is more of like a power guy. So if Peraza gets called up and gets everyday playing time, I could see him going like, 10 home runs, 15 stolen bases, 20 stolen. I could see him doing something like that. Volpe, I could see hitting 20 home runs if he gets regular playing time. And moving up the Yankees batting order, because we all know right now that the Yankees are all over the place as far as their offense is concerned. So I don't think Orlando Cabrera is the answer. I don't think IKF is the answer. I think, and I hope, one of these two players is the regular shortstop, not by the end of the year, but halfway through the year. And then we can see what this guy does with half a season. But I don't think it'll be both of them. It'll be one of them. But whoever gets the call, I would go with it as my number 23.
I like that. I'll be honest. I don't know enough about them. I didn't rank either of them because I just, I don't know what the Yankees are going to do. I
Yeah.
don't know who these kids are. There's two Oswald. There's Oswald and Oswaldo, and that's just confusing to me. So I'm kind of maybe if in spring training, if I see one of them is making a leap, maybe I throw a dart. But I'm definitely not touching Israel knives forever either.
Did you say Israel?
Yeah, I'm not touching IKF.
Oh, wait, did you say Israel like the country?
Yeah, that's my new IKF acronym.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Basically, I'm not touching any Yankee shortstop.
I don't even know what conversation we just had, but I understand. Okay.
Cool. Awesome. My 23, I'm going with Luis Urias of the Brewers. Kind of the same conversation we had about Adames. We don't like the Brewers offense, but
yeah,
this is a kid, he's 26. He's got second, third, and short eligibility. We talked about him on the second base show. He's not great, but he's serviceable. He's a guy also that you can just kind of plug in there as a bench spot, and
yeah,
if he starts getting hot, then you have a hot bat in your bench. So
yeah, and I mean, besides Adames and Tellez, I feel like the left, like not the left side, but the second and third base spots in Milwaukee are always kind of like up in the air, especially with Colton Wong gone now. Like, I think he'll get regular playing time, whether it's at second or third. But yeah, you said it. Like, I don't know that I trust him enough to even employ him as a bench bat. Like, when we talk about some of these other guys that are ranked, I'd feel probably more comfortable having like a Brendan Donovan or like some of these other guys we're going to talk about, like just bat. But again, that's just probably my bias towards Milwaukee hitters. So.
I mean, he's 26, which is the same age as Donovan, actually. And so I just feel like if he has some sort of power in that bat, he hit 23 home runs in 2021.
Yeah.
So if he's got some pop. It's not nothing. I haven't done a 23. I don't love him, but like I'd be okay with him late in the draft.
Okay.
So 20. So that was my 23. You had your 22, 24.
24. All right. I told you things are gonna get weird now. As of right now, I'm gonna go with Adalberto Mondesi because if he plays every day, he's shown us what he can do with his legs. if he plays every day, he can steal 35, 40 bases. If he plays every day, he can hit 15 home runs. I don't know that he's necessarily going to play every day, but why did Boston pick him up if he's not? I mean, I don't, unless Christian Arroyo gets playing time over him, which is, I guess, possible, but I don't know. I kind of like him as a sneaky pick this year, especially where he's going.
Yeah, I do have him ranked. I have him ranked 30 because
Okay.
I didn't have him ranked at all until this trade happened with the Red Sox.
Right.
So I just kind of stuck him up there in the 30 spot. But you're right. Again, spring training. If in spring training he's playing, he's healthy, he's doing things we were expecting of him, he shoots up this list.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like
know,
I don't really know that Kike Hernandez is the answer at shortstop either. So even if Trevor Story does come back, I could see Kike playing center field over Duvall and them keeping at like Mondesi's bat in the lineup, especially if he's healthy.
Yeah. The Red Sox lineup is a little funky, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it. I don't hate it. I don't think, but I don't love it. I don't know that I like Mondesi. I mean, he's due to hit 8th right now. If he needs to hit like first or second to really have that value.
Right.
But so maybe he moves up during the season.
Yeah.
He starts producing. Yeah, he's definitely a sneaky pick.
Yeah.
And, hopefully Costas doesn't take him in the 4th round. Was it 3rd round?
I hope he does.
Yeah.
Do it again this year. Costas, do it.
My 24 is a guy that you're fairly familiar with after last season. Eligible also again at a bunch of different positions. Christopher Morel of the Cubs. He is eligible at shortstop. He's probably going to be the third baseman for the Cubs, but he's eligible at shortstop and second base and center field. So like, again, you can plug him in.
Yeah.
He had a decent rookie year. 16 home runs is, no joke.
Yeah.
He struck out a ton, didn't walk at all. So rookie things. Again, he's a guy that could move up. If he starts showing some signs of progression.
Yeah, he's my number 30, so he's on my list. Okay. Part of that, like, what the hell are the Cubs question. And yeah, I had this guy on my team last year, like you just said, for the one stretch of time that he went absolutely bananas. And it was so enjoyable. And then he fell off the face of the planet. And I was happy to say bye-bye, but he did some good things for me in that like 3-week span. So I love him for that.
Yeah. It's funny how he's my 24 and you're 30, and your 24 is Mondesi, and Mondesi's my 30. So we literally switched just Mondesi and Morel.
Yep, there we go. It's almost like we planned this, but we didn't.
Right, and we did not share a list. We did not share our list before this.
We did not.
We are learning our list as you all are. So yeah.
No cheating here. We are not cheating.
Nope, not here. 25. Who you got?
Not here. So 25, I've got right now CJ Abrams. Just kind of want to see what he does. I think he's obviously going to get regular playing time. I know nobody believes in Joey Meneses, and that's okay. But he's hitting, up. I think CJ Abrams will hit up towards the top of that lineup in front of Meneses and Keibert Ruiz. Not that that's a dynamic tandem there, but I think it's about time that somebody gives him regular playing time, and let's see what he does with it. This is a guy who once was an incredibly highly ranked prospect, and he's still not even 23 years old. So like, let's see what he does in Washington.
Yeah. He's in my just miss list. But I love that you ranked him. I think he's going to have a good future there in Washington. They're not playing for shit, so roll him out there and see what he can do. Like I said, he's not even 23 yet, so the sky's the limit for this kid.
Yeah,
I just want to see it. I want to see what he can do before I'm committed to him. But yeah, I can see it. I can see him easily top 20 next year.
Yeah, Yeah. That
My
was my 25.
my 25 is a guy also. We're getting to a part of the show where I'm repeating myself because a lot of these guys are eligible elsewhere.
Yeah.
My 25, I have Dylan Moore,
Okay.
and I shocked Joe by ranking him in my second base rankings too because he's not great. But
He's
the
not.
Mariners did just sign him to an extension. He plays all over the place. I really think he's going to get at least decent enough playing time. He's, you know, he runs. He stole 21 bases each of the last 2 years. Um, he had a 368 on base last year. So like when he plays, he can play well. He's another guy like Donovan, like Morel, that you can just kind of plug into different places when you
Yeah.
need, when you need to fill a hole.
Yeah.
And he's not going to hurt you. He's not going to kill you in anything really. He's just a guy that, if you need a stolen base, you plug him in.
Yeah.
Last year, I think it was a time last year where I needed stolen bases on Sunday or something like that, and I picked him up and in hopes that he would steal a base, and he stole like 3 bases in one game or something like that, and won me the category. Like so, he can do that for you. He's the guy that can do that for you.
That may have been against me. That's
I think
possible.
it might have been actually. That sounds
Yeah.
very familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that scares me about him is the playing time. Actually, that's not the only thing, but that's the major thing that scares me about him
Sure.
because of the Colton Long signing and because of the AJ Pollock signing. So you've got your regular second baseman, you've got someone who now can be a third or fourth outfielder in AJ Pollock and be that DH. Like, I don't know how this guy is going to see at bats unless Jared Kelnick is just like punted, and then maybe you can kind of fill him in. But
yeah, and I think that's where it is because
yeah,
Kalinick is one more slump away from just being tossed aside, and if it's not Dylan Moore, it's Sam Haggerty or Tommy LaStella or so like I think you go with a guy you just gave a contract extension to and let
yeah,
him play out there. So
yeah,
and also Colton Long has he's had injury problems in the past, but like JP Crawford has also had injury problems in the past. So like I could see him. He's not going to get he's not going to play 150 games, but he could play enough to at least make some noise.
yeah, yeah. And like you said, he's a guy that you can plug in and he can steal 3 bases in a game and win you the week. So that's nice
Yeah.
value to have on your bench.
Yep. All right, who got 26?
Brendan Donovan was my 26. So who is yours?
Mine is Tyro Estrada.
That's my 27. Stop stealing my time.
Look at that. And my 27 is Nico Horner. So like we're jiving here. We're jiving here.
Love it.
Joe and I talked about Estrada on second base. What do you like about Estrada or don't like?
What I medium like about Estrada is he's still 27 years old. He had a nice, really quiet, nice season in San Francisco last year. He was obviously on the Yankees, and when we played him, he was really solid. He was a solid defender. He can run. He has sneaky pop. I don't love any Giants hitters. Usually it's just another it's like Giants, it's Brewers, it's Rays. There are teams that I just like don't like the offense. But if he is going to hit leadoff every day and can get you a 15-15 season with a batting average that won't hurt you, like I'll take that as a bench bat with the dual eligibility. So
second, short, and left. So he's got so he's got positions. Yeah, and that's just it. Is like for me, like I said on the second base show, like I just need to see it. I need to see in spring training where he's going to be hitting, where he's going to be playing, and is this the real guy? Because we've never seen this kind of production from him ever before. He never played a full season, so
right.
He's kind to me. He's kind of like the poor man's Andres Jimenez, right? Like he's got potential, he's got upside, but we've only seen it for one season. Is this real? I don't know. So let's find out.
Yeah. Agreed. That's crazy. We ranked him pretty much in the same spot there.
Yeah. Our 20 and then so he was your 20. He's my 26. He's your 27.
Yes. And your 27 is
Nico Horner.
Nico Horner. Okay.
And who was your 26?
My 26 was Brendan Donovan.
Right. Okay. So we're on to 28.
Okay. So my 28 is just really kind of based. I don't know that I like him here, but it's really kind of based on his present situation in that he is going to be the starting second baseman this year on an incredible offense, and that's Ha-Seong Kim. Right now, he's going to lead off for San Diego, but obviously when Tatis gets back, he's going to drop in the order. But I think if he is the regular playing time second baseman in this lineup all year, like we could see double-digit home runs and steals, and again, batting average that won't kill you. So
Yep.
I'm into
I
it.
have him ranked 29.
Wow. Okay. Look at us.
Yeah. This is fun.
Yeah.
My 28 is a guy I actually just kind of glossed over his name a few minutes ago. Is a guy I don't really like him for his production, but he's a guy he's a starting shortstop for a high quality team, and it's JP Crawford.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not good. I don't think like he hasn't really shown anything tremendous. He doesn't have a lot of power. Doesn't steal bases. Decent on base, decent average. Like he's okay, but he's gonna play. He's gonna play. He's a starting shortstop, so like he's in that lineup. So it's she backs us to Suarez and France and those guys in that lineup. But I probably wouldn't touch him.
Yeah. No, I don't think I would touch him either. I know that that's a guy that Ben liked him a lot just because he was like the leadoff hitter in Seattle for some time. But like you said, he lost that. It's Julio's gig.
Yeah.
So he's dropped in the order, and he doesn't really do much of anything. But he'll get on base and he'll steal occasionally, but like single digit home runs, single digit steals, like mediocre.
He walked. His walk he has an 11.3 walk percentage last year. Like so he walks. He takes his walk.
Good.
But like
he doesn't run, he walks. So
right. So he's not. So you don't drive in guys when you walk unless the bases are loaded. And you got AJ Pollock and Kalenic hitting behind him, so he's not really going to score a whole lot probably.
right.
Yeah. I have him ranked just because of volume, but I don't think he's going to be all that particularly good.
Okay. So that is your what? That's your 20.
That was my 28.
28. All right. So I gave you my 28, Ha-Seong Kim. My 29 is the guy you talked about. Dylan Moore is a guy that you can just plug into your lineup. He's got eligibility. He can steal you that base that you need. So for me, that's John Birdie. He doesn't have the starting gig at the moment, according to Roster Resource, but when he does play, that's a guy that can fill a lot of positions for you and steal you 3 bases in one day. So I think that's sort of a dangerous player to have on your bench. So 29.
My only concern is like with him, and I don't have him ranked. I have him on my other guys list. Is that he's 33, so like, he probably still has good speed. I just feel like that might start to wane a little bit. And the playing time, I don't know. He's gonna play everywhere, I guess. So I guess he'll always have a chance to pinch run at least.
Yeah.
But I don't like the Marlins at all. So
yeah, me neither. But
like if it's not Jeff Chisholm, I'm probably not taking anybody.
Right. I mean, but it didn't stop him last year from stealing over 40 bases. So and he was. Sure. It's not like he was 26 last year.
No, he was not.
I don't think that's how math works. But also, I'm 35, Jason, and I could steal a few bases in the MLB.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Like 2.
Maybe not. I don't know. Who's your 29?
Was Kim, and my 30 was Mondesi. So I think we've talked about everybody in our top 30.
Yeah, we have.
Let's do the rundown real quick. Give me your 21 through 30.
All right, 21, Nico Horner, Ezekiel Tovar, the Yankees rookie tandem. Adalberto Mondesi at 24, CJ Abrams, 25, Brendan Donovan, Tyro Estrada, Ha-Seong Kim, John Birdie, Christopher Morel.
All right. And my 21, I have Jake Cronenworth, Brendan Donovan, Luis Arias, Christopher Morel, Dylan Moore, Tyro Estrada, Nico Horner, JP Crawford, Ha-Seong Kim, and Mondesi. Again, a lot of the same names in the same bunch. It's
Yeah. No,
yeah,
there weren't like
the
there weren't like wild outliers, I feel.
No, I mean Carlos Correa is probably the biggest gap, of any of them. But like, yeah, we're pretty much on lockstep all through here. Are there any guys on your just missed, or anybody that we haven't talked about that you wanted to mention?
I think there's some names that we can throw out there just for conversation purposes. I think like somebody like Javi Baez, who just fell off the face of the earth, and I know nobody wants to touch him. He's a strikeout machine. Detroit is a black hole right now, but like he's still a player that can hit 25, 30 home runs if he gets hot and steal some bases. But I mean, I'm not going to draft him, but
No, but maybe he's a guy, if he's on the waiver wire and you see your strikeouts are fucked anyway, you're punching strikeouts, but you need a home run from, maybe you give him maybe you take a shot on him. He is still Javi Baez, so he has the power.
Someone's going to draft him. I really do.
So?
I think he'll be on a team. I do.
Yeah. Okay.
It won't be
I wonder if he stays on a team though. Like, if after the first month he's hitting, 230 with, 4 home runs and a million strikeouts, he might not stay on a team.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was one guy. And then I also had Jorge Mateo, who just missed, just given his playing time. I had Luis Rengifo for a little bit last year, and he was sort of this like unheralded like savior for my team towards the end. I don't know much about him other than he was a stopgap because of all the injuries in LA, but
he's slated to be the starting shortstop. Me and Joe talked about him in second base. He had him ranked in second base. I did not.
Okay.
He's only 26, so like I could see there's some upside there with him, especially if he could find his way out of the 9-hole in the lineup.
Yeah.
But I mean he's sitting behind Trout, Ohtani, Rendon, Renfroe, Drury. So like there's guys in front of him. I can see that where he may have some value. Not drafting him.
Not drafting him. Okay. I'm trying to think who else. What happened to Kyle Farmer? Is he still a baseball player?
He is a baseball player. He's on the Twins.
He's on the Twins.
Okay. Yeah, he's on the Twins. He was traded just as the offseason started from Cincinnati, and he's basically going to be a bench piece for the Twins for when Carlos Correa gets hurt.
Okay. I mean, so the other guy I wanted to talk about then is Nick Gordon, because before Correa got signed, I think Nick Gordon was the guy, and he's shown some flashes of something. So I had him.
Have you watched the Second Base Show yet?
No.
Because we're literally having the same conversation that me and Joe just had.
Damn it! So none of this is original. Okay, never mind.
but you're and I did have actually when I moved Mondesi up into after the trade from the Red Sox, where the Red Sox got Mondesi, I moved Mondesi into the 30 spot. He bumped Nick Gordon out because I did have Nick Gordon as my 30th shortstop.
Okay.
Now though, like, and especially now with the Correa signing, like he's doing roster resource has him hitting 9th as a DH. Like, I don't know.
I know.
I don't know. I don't know if just where the playing time comes from, unless Buxton's injury waiting to happen. Correa is injury waiting to happen. Polanco is injury waiting to happen. Kirilloff is so like there's an injury waiting to happen all over the place. then he becomes valuable.
Yeah, because I think he's a guy that can do everything, and especially in a league that like, really values the triple. I think Nick Gordon
Yeah.
is sort of that fun, like, let me throw him in and just we both have 0 triples all week, let me add him for Sunday and see if I can snag a category there.
I feel like I may have done that, played that card last year also, and it worked out. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. There was only one other guy on my just miss list, and that was Bryson Stott.
Yep.
Who I'm pretty sure is the starting second baseman in Philly.
Yeah. Yep.
So he'll have that dual eligibility. He's obviously going to hit towards the bottom of the lineup in Philly because of Trey Turner. So, it's not a ton of value there, but I think he's sort of a fun sneaky pick. Just because
yeah, he's another one of those guys who, like, he was a rookie last year, so it wasn't pretty with a 234 and a 295 average on base. So like, but yeah, if he can take some steps forward and progress, yeah, access to that Phillies lineup, kind of the same idea, as Rengifo, where like he's hitting at the bottom of the lineup, but that lineup is Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Rhys Hoskins, Realmuto, Castellanos, Bryce Harper when he comes back. Like, so there's some names ahead of him in that lineup that he can have access to.
Right.
The only other one I mentioned, and I mentioned him on the second base show too, is Vaughn Grissom from Atlanta. Kind of the same idea. Rookie, wasn't very good last year, but if he's a starting shortstop in Atlanta, there may be some value there. Nicky Lopez, now with the trade of Mondesi, Nicky Lopez becomes a guy in Kansas City again.
I know you love. Oh, that's the guy. That's the guy that stole like 4 bases against me.
Yes. I think that may have been the year before even.
But, it was.
Yeah.
I'll never forgive him.
Yes, Nicky Lopez, your favorite. So he's a guy, and I think that's pretty much. We've talked about everybody else. Tovar, Luis Garcia, also of Washington, is somebody to look out for in spring training. See if him and Abrams kind of form that rookie middle infield combo that could be something, could be nothing.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think we've exhausted the shortstop options here at this point.
I think we should stop with the shortstops.
We just didn't talk about Nick Ahmed as the only shortstop we haven't spoken about. So
who's that guy?
I don't know.
Yeah, and somehow Arizona's still going to be playing that guy. I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't either.
Like that team is up and coming, and they're ready. They're about ready to compete. But you're not gonna do that with Nick Ahmed as your shortstop.
I know, yeah, but like defensively, he's okay. He's better than Josh Rojas, who I think is going to be your starting third baseman this year. So like, I think he's only playing for the defensive purposes there. But you're right. I think it's time to move on.
Yeah, and it's time to move on. Mike, thanks for coming on and doing this with me.
Yeah, this was awesome. This was a lot of fun. I think we went and scraped kind of the bottom of the shortstop barrel. But it was a fun time, and I look forward to doing further ranking shows with you as we get closer and closer to the season start.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks for watching, and man, it's been real.
And it's been fun.
And it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time, guys.